Okay, we have Duncan on line 5.
Morning, Duncan.
Good morning.
What can you tell us about ME?
Yeah, I'm the full-time carer for my wife, who's had ME for about 10 years. And about 3 years ago, she became bedbound when I've had to give up work so I can look after her. And it's just that it's one of these things which other people have been saying. It's the perception of the illness. Like, it's not just tiredness, and I'm feeling a bit tired. You know, my wife suffers from extreme fatigue. She's in lots of pain. She's on a form of morphine to control the pain. I said she's basically bedbound. We've got a powered wheelchair, but she's
Duncan,
very short amounts of time.
Take us back to the beginning. I mean, your wife is fine one day and starts to become ill, or becomes very ill, or I mean, how?
No, she's got a level. Like at the moment, she's quite bad at the moment, so she's basically in her hospital bed in one of the rooms 99% of the time.
Right.
But what will happen is you'll have a day when she's feeling a bit better, but feeling a bit better could be just the fact of being able to watch television for half an hour.
Take us back to the very onset. So, did your wife have a normal, a normal life at some point?
She did.
And then, how did it change?
Before I met her, when she was at school, she got tonsillitis, and after tonsillitis, she never fully recovered, and then they went through all this diagnosis things, and basically, eventually they finally diagnosed ME. She missed a huge amounts of school, and they put her in a bizarre rehab program in Nottingham, which her mother's always told me that she's convinced has actually made her worse in the long term. When I first met her, she had ME, but she was basically on the sort of minor form of it, that she would basically couldn't walk very far, but she was okay and what have you. But, you know, sort of some of the symptoms that people forget about is the fact that her short-term memory is shot to pieces. She can't speak to anybody on the phone because she won't remember what she said 2 minutes ago, and things like this. And I said the medical fraternity is, you know, luckily at the moment we've got a GP who's pretty good, but we've gone things, we've been into hospital with her before, and she's not been able to swallow, she's not been able to lift her head, and we've had nurses trying to force feed her yogurt because they think she's taking it. And it's all just quite, you know, it is. And then you get things like physiotherapists determined to, you need to do lots more exercise. Well, you seem to delay the fact that if she does 10 minutes worth of exercise, she could spend 2 days trying to recover from that. It's very hard, and there's also this thing that it's a new illness. Well, there's been cases, research done that from about 100 years ago they found it. There was a huge outbreak in the Royal Free Hospital in London in the 1960s, which lots of staff were reported to have caught it, which I think Dr. Charles Shepherd's written quite a few things about it. It's not a simple illness.
God, Duncan, shattering call.
It's terrifying, isn't it? Your life could just completely change.
And the lack of help, of practical
but
help.
Also the sheer breadth of symptoms, and it's bewildering.
I do struggle to relate what Duncan's wife is going through with teenagers being tired at school. I'm sorry, that seems to be
yeah, but I think it's easy to say tired at school. I think that most people would say it's a much bigger deal than that. It's something you can't do anything about.
Yeah, I guess so. Time is short. Thank you, Duncan. I want to squeeze one more in because so many people have called.
Will on line 1.
Will, good morning.
Good morning, Matthew.
Again, fire away. What do you know about ME?
First, can I thank you for doing this subject, because we need much needed awareness for ME. There's very little awareness raised for it.
Okay. I wish we had more time. I really do.
Quick history of ME. It's been around for 7 decades. As the last caller just mentioned, there was an outbreak in the London Royal Free Hospital, which affected doctors and nurses.
So it was infectious? You could catch ME? Is that what we're saying?
I mean, there was an experiment. There was a study done in Australia in 1949 where they transferred the punitive agent of ME into monkeys. So the question is 250,000 people had ME in the UK. How are they getting it?
Well,
but I presume there's nothing that the doctors can look at under a microscope. They can't find anything physical.
There's been very little biomedical research for ME in the UK, certainly since the 1980s.
Because, you know, it sounds like a virus almost.
Okay, Will, I have to take a break. I want to know one thing you want to say, something that we need to know, or the public needs to know, or that you want, one thing that would make a difference.
We need to be listened to, we need to be understood, because it's an invisible disease. People treat us like we are invisible. I don't speak to many of my friends anymore. My wife has saved my life. Without her, I don't know where I'd be now. We are left alone, and we are, not only is this disease invisible, I'm invisible.
I honestly, well, I can't think of a phone anymore I found quite so disquieting as this one. And then you think, I mean, Screechy's saying that the phones have rung off the hook, and it makes you think quite how callous that yuppie flu tag was when you hear
that,
these
and then
stories.
have people still disbelieve that you've even got anything. Yeah, must be dreadful.
Unbelievable. We're going to give it more time. We will do it again. We'll do